Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Butterflies podcast. Today, we are going to be discussing the topic and our experiences of growth hormones. So, basically, people with Turner syndrome need growth hormones because our body doesn't use our natural ones correctly. We have enough, but it just needs a little extra help to grow. So, the first story we are going to start with today is Sophia.
Hi, I'm Sophia. You probably already know that. So, because I was diagnosed with Turner syndrome at birth, I got placed on growth hormone extremely early in my life. I started it when I was 3 years old, and it went on until I was about 14. I remember the day I actually started growth hormone. It was late at night. Somebody knocked on our door while we were eating dinner, and my dad answered the door and came back with the package of growth hormone. It came with a carrying case for travel, needles, alcohol wipes, and an educational DVD, which my aunt played in her TV in her room. Throughout my duration of using growth hormone, I was constantly switching between omnitrope and humatrope. And the reason I was constantly switching between those two separate growth hormones was because I was also constantly switching between insurances. So one insurance would carry a different one, but they wouldn't carry the other one. And it ended when I was 14 because I took an x-ray and the x-ray confirmed I wouldn't be growing anymore. And the growth hormone has allowed me to reach a height of 4'10". And that's my story.
So next we are going to a new member who was not able to be here last week. This is Aspen. You can introduce yourself and tell your story.
Hello, I'm Aspen. So I was diagnosed with Turner syndrome in the womb. My mom went to go get the routine test for Down syndrome that most pregnant mothers get. It was either that or a different test with my amniotic fluid. And they diagnosed me. They originally thought it was something called trisomy 18, which is a whole different story. But then they looked closer and they were like, "Oh, it's this instead." So I was placed on growth hormone. I didn't know that I had Turner syndrome until I was like 9, so a week before my 9th birthday. So my mom sat me down and told me all about it, and we had my first visit with my endocrinologist, and she talked to me about growth hormone and how it works and everything like that. And I remember that first visit with my endo. They had to draw my blood, they had to do labs, and I thought that was the growth hormone. So I started sobbing and I remember screaming, "I'm never taking growth hormone again." But then then she actually explained everything and I was like, "Oh, okay." And I was placed on it when I was 9, and then I stopped when I was 14. Um, I stopped in March, April of 2022 because I just kind of got out of a routine because I was really busy with school and my growth plates were closing, so we were gonna end up stopping me probably within the next couple months of that anyways. Um, and yeah, um, I was originally supposed to be, I think below I think I was supposed to be around Sophia's height, but the growth hormone allowed me to reach 5'1.5". So yeah, that's my story.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Aspen. Next up is Sarah.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed, I think, around 5 or 6 is what my mom told me. I used to say it was at full, and then I didn't found out that was actually wrong. But so my parents debated for a couple of years after that whether or not to put me on growth hormone because they were like, "Will it make that much of a difference?" Like da 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 da. My reasoning for not wanting to go on it was that I liked being small because I could fit in small places. But so it took them a couple years to decide. So we were on when I was about 7. So I was in first grade, and it was around the end of my I was on the end of my first grade year, and I was on it till about 14 or 15, and it wasn't fun. So yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. Next up is Michaela. Michaela is also a new member joining this week, so you can introduce yourself and share your story.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I was diagnosed with Turner syndrome the day I was born. And so I was put on growth hormone when I was 2. I don't remember doing my first dose of it. I just remember being on it and having to get shots every night so I would grow tall. And I never had like any issues with it. Like I didn't mind it. I hated having to get shots, but it kind of was like, oh, if I want to get tall, I have to do it. So I never had any issues with it until my insurance decided to be mean and switch me to this other medicine. And then they actually gave me overdoses of it. So I got really, really sick. I would get headaches for like 6 weeks, and it was just like my eyes. I looked like a vampire, and it was like the worst 6 weeks ever. Um, and so they switched me back to the medication I had been on my whole life, and then I was on it until my growth plate closed when I was 14. So the February I was 14, I was taken off of it. And yeah, that's my story.
All right. Thank you for sharing. Next up is Mary.
Hi, I'm Mary. Yeah, as Greta said, and like Michaela, I was diagnosed as a baby, and my endocrinologist wanted me to be on growth. Which, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know, an endocrinologist is a doctor who focuses on like hormones and the whole system of releasing and processing them. So my endocrinologist wanted me to be on growth hormones, a lot sooner than I did. Probably around like 2 or 3, like with Michaela. But my parents kind of fought about that for a while, like fought with the doctor about that for a while because they felt like cause I was growing pretty normally at first, and they felt like it might affect my ability to be like a normal kid, and I was growing normally anyway, so they didn't feel like it was super necessary. But then my growth kind of started slowing. So I started it when I was 8, I think 8, maybe 9, but I think 8. And I did until I was 13. And it really didn't affect my ability to be like a normal kid. It was just a little thing I had to do every day. Originally, it was every single day, and then it went to 6 days a week. So a little story about that. I remember this lady came when I started doing it. I think she was a nurse because she came to show us kind of how to do it, and she had this like foam cube that she would put the needle in, just like to demonstrate how you put it in, you like set the pen, put it in stuff and all that. And I was trying to procrastinate on having to, do my first dose, so I was like, oh, can you show me that again? She didn't let me, she didn't want to waste the medicine, so that didn't work. But I was scared of it at first, but it ended up, it was fine. Not fun, but I'm glad I did it because I'm 5'5" now, and I probably wouldn't be that tall without them. I think I'm the tallest of all of us, actually, so you know how much TS affects growth.
Yeah, you are. I remember meeting you. And you towered over me because I'm 4'6". But yeah, growth hormone injections do not really hurt. You just feel a little poke, like nothing. All right, next up we have Natalie. Joining us today, you can introduce yourself and share your story.
Okay, I'm Natalie, and I actually lost my voice a little bit, so don't mind that. But I thought originally when I got diagnosed with Turner syndrome, I thought it was when I was born, but apparently it was when I was like 2 years old, and so I've been on growth hormone for a pretty long time. Since I was about like 3, maybe. And I don't think it was until recently that I stopped my growth hormone. So probably at about 15 years old. So yeah, I know it was not fun. I remember when I was little, it would be kind of difficult. My dad would chase me around. But that's because I guess I didn't fully understand what was happening. And so I would remember getting shots almost every night. And, you know, and that it helped is now I'm almost 4'10", but not quite there yet. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us today, Natalie. I appreciate you sharing. All right. Next up is Grace.
So I was diagnosed when I was 6. So I started growth hormone, I think, when I was like around 7. I don't really remember any, like, my first thought because I was still pretty little. But something I do remember is I did hide under the table because I was super scared. And growing up, I always kind of hated growth shots, honestly. Like, I would often, like, procrastinate on, like, doing them. And I remember being frustrated because I would have to keep getting new growth hormones because of insurances. We would always have to change insurances. And I ended up stopping around 14, 15 because that's when my growth plates sealed. But even despite me hating growth shots growing up, I am very grateful that I did it, as I've gotten to a height about 4'11". And I think it's very important for all transgender girls to get growth hormones.
Yeah, it's not as scary as it seems. The shots don't hurt. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Grace. I really appreciate your time here. So now I will share my story. So I just started growth hormone 2 days ago on Friday, November 1st, because of insurance, which delayed my care for 8 months since when I was first diagnosed because they wanted me to get on it right away. So we recently switched insurances so I'd be able to get it because in Wisconsin, a little vial of the medicine that you can put in like the needle is $10,000 a month. And it's insane. And so we switched insurances and now I'm able to do it. And I am doing my first shot alone tonight. So I'm hoping that goes well. But yeah, that is my story.
Hello. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this, and I hope that this podcast helps give people insight onto Turner syndrome for people who are just wanting to learn about it, and maybe wanting to specialize in it as a doctor, or maybe people who are just getting diagnosed and just not knowing what to do and feeling lost. And I mostly hope that this can help this specific episode, but also just the whole podcast, this specific episode can help kids who are just getting on growth hormone or talking about getting on growth hormone or working to get on growth hormone. I hope this can help them feel less lost and more heard, and just give them some sort of comfort. Because going on growth hormone is not an easy transition. So, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for listening, and we all hope you have a great rest of your day and night, or wherever you are, whatever time you're listening to this. Bye!